sanitary concerns also led to the ban on the spitball after the 1920 season. Chapman's death was one of the examples cited to justify the wear of batting helmets. However, it took over 30 years to adopt the rule that requires their use. In 1973, Willie Mays hits his 660th and last home run. 1977, Dodgers pitcher and Tate High School alum Don Sutton throws his NL record-tying fifth one-hitter. In 2003, Cristiano Ronaldo makes his debut for Manchester United in the Premier League in a 4-0 home victory over Bolton Wanderers. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP. JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, little lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to, big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
What do I cherish? Precious moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad has age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet on preventing and managing AMD. That's 1-800-254-6552.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K, Sports Drive with Chad Brillante, and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson. This Thursday afternoon, appreciate you guys tuning in to us here. Look, a little wet outside, so if you're driving around, slow down just a little bit. Take a few extra minutes to get where you got to go. Look, while we're talking about this, hopefully, look, you're doing safe, or you're doing well, I'm sorry. Hopefully, everything is going well with what's going on right now with COVID-19. You're washing your hands, throwing on a mask when you go in, obviously around businesses or you're around other people, things like that. I don't have to tell you guys that, but I will, just as a reminder. Look, when we start off the show, we always do it this way, and we'll continue to do it this way because I think it's so important in times like this that we give those people that deserve a thanks, well, just very that, a thanks. And so we want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers with what they've been able to do right now. Has been fantastic. Look, we're getting back to somewhat of normalcy. We're not there yet. We're not out of the clear. We're not going to be out of the clear for a while, but somewhat of normalcy going on right now. And look, it's because it's a lot to do with these folks. Look, when you talk about the first responders, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in our country right now, and I say this every day, but I think it's important to say this every day to start off this show, Coach, and I know you feel the same way, but look, we live in a community where we have so many great first responders and healthcare workers when it comes to police officers, firefighters, EMT personnel, all the first responders out there, nurses, doctors. All these folks have been working tirelessly to get us back to normal. But these folks work tirelessly every day, no matter what anyway. And I just think it's important that we thank them. And like I said, I know there's a lot of unrest in our country, but don't let a few bad eggs ruin the entire bunch here. And while we're thanking folks, look, I had to run in yesterday and grab some milk and some eggs. So typical stuff there in the grocery store. Wearing a mask, following the arrows, it takes you a little bit longer, but it's okay. And you know what? These folks out there at the grocery stores and all the places that are open right now, following these protocols, folks, please don't hassle them. They are doing what they're doing to protect you and to protect everybody in this, which is obviously a big part if we want to get back to normal. So we thank those folks out there, and understand it may take you a few extra minutes, but those few extra minutes make everybody safer in all this, and that's what it's all about. Look, the truck drivers, by the way, the silent heroes, I know there's a couple listening. They said they listen every single day to our show, Coach, and we thank those guys because, look, without those truck drivers, when we went through the whole toilet paper issue and all this other stuff, well, they're the ones that brought it. They're the ones that are out there every single day, and some of them don't see their families a ton, but you know what? They're doing a great service, and we thank them so much. But you know what, Coach? It's Happy National Radio Day. That's a thing, I guess, as seems we have a day for something. But we got a ton of football to get to. A lot of things going on. We're getting closer to football. But you know what? First things first, Coach, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, and also send my gratitude, my thanks out to all those people that you mentioned. It's so important that we do that. And also to our sponsors. What a great job they do. What a benefit they are to this community. And, it's quite a feeling of comfort, for example, if you're in need of any legal advice or representation, to have one of the top law firms, not in the country, in the world, but in the world, in the Levin Law Firm, Levin Papatonio Law Firm, right here in Pensacola, where you can pick up the phone and call them. And so it's, there's so many things that we have to be thankful for, and we are for that. But all of our sponsors, including Bob Tyler, just go into Bob Tyler and tell him that we recommended you come in. You heard it on this show, and ask him to give you a football deal. They're making some deals out there now that are just unbelievable. So go in, and of course you can't beat a Toyota. And Hill Kelly is great. Been here a long, long time, and they'll do the same. Go ahead and tell them you heard about it on the football, on Talk Football. Also, the shooting range, and I know JP has mentioned it 2 or 3 times, but good gracious, indoor shooting range out on North 29, Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range is really something special. And if you go in and tell them we sent you out there, I think you could get maybe even a free shooting session if you tell them you heard about it on Talk Football and see what they do for you there. We'll talk to them. But thank you so much thank our sponsors so much for all they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Coach, I know for a lot of people, buying a car may be something that's worrisome. Maybe you've never done it before. Maybe you automatically think and you go, okay, car salesman, no thanks. I don't want to be pressured. Go in there, by the way, and just talk to these guys and let them know we sent you. They will walk you through the process. They're not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do. You just got to let them know what you're looking for, what your situation is. And Bob Tyler Toyota and Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Miles and those guys will take care of you. They really will. And, Coach, Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range is one of my favorites. I've sent plenty of friends of mine in there, and they love it. And once again, I think it's important. If you've never handled a gun, I think it's always important to know how to use one just in case that situation arises. And gun safety is obviously very key. Before you pick up a gun, you need to understand everything about it and the rules about it as well. Not the case for everybody, but it is what it is. Those folks can help you out with that. They can walk you through it, and they'll even let you try it before you buy it. So that's awesome. I know Father's been in there before, and he loves it as well. So you know what? We thank all of our sponsors, though. Like you said, the Levin Law Firm, anybody that's from here, the Levin is top-notch. So, look, we got a ton of stuff to get into today, Coach. I'm going to jump into it here on National Radio Day. That's, I don't know, whatever. I apologize for that for folks. Look, Big Ten. Coach, we talked about the Big Ten's decision to postpone fall sports. Parents, by the way, with this decision, to make this very clear, have not slowed down in our planning, to not slow down anytime soon. Let's just say that. Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren said yesterday he released an open letter to the conference community stating that the vote by the Big Ten's Council of Presidents and Chancellors was overwhelmingly in support of postponing fall sports and will not be revisited. This decision was thorough and deliberative and based on sound feedback, guidance, and advice from medical experts. He obviously wrote that in his letter. Despite the decision to postpone fall sports, we continue our work to find a path forward that creates a healthy and safe environment for all Big Ten student-athletes to compete in the sports they love in a manner that helps to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and protects both student-athletes and surrounding communities. Coach, once again, not answering any questions because people want to know. Okay, when he says things like, we got sound feedback, guidance, and advice from medical experts, people go, okay, well, what was that? What was the experts? What were they saying? What was the advice in this? What did you get? We want to know. And I personally, maybe people feel different. Maybe you feel different, Coach. I believe that they deserve to know. They're a part of this as well. Look, the students, the student athletes, and the parents and things like that are sending their students to these schools. They want to know, and I think it's right. If you look, what do you have to hide personally? That's what I look at in all this, and parents are fuming. This only made things worse for these parents. Now, obviously, Coach, we've talked about it. Kevin Warren's son is a wide receiver at Mississippi State, and so a lot of these parents are like, well, wait a minute. You're allowing your son to go play, but then my son can't play, for a conference in your, Big Ten. Like, what? This doesn't make any sense to me. So, Coach, I don't know. Maybe did this change? Did this change your opinion on anything that happened in the Big Ten? I feel like this is just a exact same thing he said before. And do you feel that these parents and these players kind of deserve to know what was the guidance that changed the thing here? Because remember, they released a conference-only schedule. 6 days later, they cancel it. So, do you believe that they deserve to know what was being said?
Well, certainly they deserve to know. And listen, they hear these other medical experts say that it's fine to go ahead and play. That it's they're even safer there on campus than they would be at home. And for many of the kids, that's true. For some, maybe not, but for most of them, it is true. They should be advised of every decision-making process and why they made that decision. Because other people are playing, kids want to play, and parents want them to have that opportunity. And they've got a mess in the Big Ten right now, and it's gonna hurt them with a number of things going forward, like recruiting, like the perception that many people will have after this. But anyway, that's down the drain now, and so we need to not worry about the Big Ten at this point. Just get on with what we need to get on with. One thing that could spur a problem out of this decision is the NCAA. If a number of these kids ask for a transfer, and I'm not for this transfer at all, any of the transfer, but given the precedent that's been set and the number of transfers that they've allowed, and for whatever reasons they've allowed them, there could be no better reason than your school not having a football program. I really see a major problem if they try to turn these kids down that want to transfer and ask for it. I think the NCAA has got a major problem, and the Big Ten will have another problem there too.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. When you look at that is that's something that's popping up right now, and Lane Kiffin, Coach, came out, and it's funny because Lane Kiffin's being berated by a lot of people here. But Lane Kiffin only said what everybody else has said. I just find it funny because that just shows you how some people just want to target certain individuals in this. But Lane Kiffin came out and said, look, if a guy's season has been canceled or postponed, why can't he have the option to transfer out? Because some of these guys, he goes, look, I get the younger guys. It is what it is. You have a reason, maybe because they have more time there. But what about these seniors that are getting ready maybe to go to the draft or trying to get draft eligible, things like that? It's going to be interesting. This is going to be a headache, but you're right. When you talk about it with the Big Ten, look, I think it's funny. The Pac-12 has basically been quiet over there, and everybody's like, yeah, we don't care. We know how they are. We know what they're going to do. But regardless with the Big Ten, it's over with. It seems it's over with now. So we got to move on. For those parents over there, I feel for them because they want answers, and Kevin Warden is hiding behind whatever he's hiding because we haven't heard from him ever since he made the decision to cancel the season or postpone the season. And now he just pops out with an open letter. He just has an open letter. I think this is a terrible look on Kevin Warren's part. And you know what? It's very shameful because if you're going to make these big decisions, obviously you better be ready to answer for them. And look, when I say a player opts out, and a player doesn't have to tell us anything of why they opt out. If they want to opt out just because they're worried about the virus, that's fine. Doesn't matter. They're the ones putting themselves at risk. Kevin Warren, you're in charge of a lot of people here, and you've basically hidden. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's kind of cowardly is what it is, and that's what it's looking like. I don't know, but he's not giving answers to people, and all people want to know is simply why. They're not saying reinstate the season. They want it, of course, but they want to know what was the reason why. I think that's a very simple answer if what you're saying is true by what you got from your medical experts. Let them speak then. But anyway, look, Coach, something interesting with this as well. Get your take on this. I think this will be another nightmare. The NCAA, remember they did something like this in the spring, obviously when spring sports were canceled pretty early on with the COVID-19 virus here, but they're talking about the Division I Council is recommending the NCAA Board of Governors that all college athletes whose sports are traditionally played in the fall be allowed to keep their year of eligibility. Now, this is a measure of potential eligibility relief that could ease the burden for schools and players amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. But, Coach, here's the thing. They're not going to give you any more scholarships. This would obviously apply to fall sports, including football, even those that are potentially pushed to the spring of 2021. So, basically, it's like a free year. I mean, I don't know. This is my problem, Coach. I want to get your take on this. If we're giving these guys another year of eligibility, now not everybody would come back, but what if you have 7 or 8 guys that want to come back? And you're talking about they can retain their scholarships, all this other stuff. You've got 25 guys. Look, some teams have more than 25 signees coming in. But I would just say you're expecting to have those scholarships. You're bringing in 25 players. We'll just say 20 players, whatever it is, however many players. You're planning on that because that's the way things are going. The NCAA here talking about now they will vote on this tomorrow to make whether it'll go through. It seems that a lot of people believe it will. But, Coach, this seems like the NCAA stepping in and trying to say, see, we're helping, but you're not helping because on paper it looks good. But as a coach trying to recruit and get the scholarships and line everything up, this seems like an absolute nightmare. Do you think this is a good idea?
No, I think this is an attempted mitigation for the problems that they've created, quite honestly. There are other things to think about. What if you're a coach and you have, you say 7 or 8, but what if you have even more than that would like to come back, and most of those that would like to come back, keep in mind they're probably wanting them to leave so they can have that scholarship to bring in younger, better players. But you can't just take a guy's scholarship away from him, otherwise you've set a precedent that's going to create a major problem for you with recruiting. So it's going to be, they better talk this one, better talk it through before they implement it. Big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time problem. And I agree with you. I think it's just the NCAA trying to say, hey, look, we're trying, we're helping, and they're not helping anybody. They've created such a mess here. Well, 2020 has been a mess anyway, but they did the same thing, like I said, in the spring, and I thought it was interesting because Barry Alvarez, the athletic director at Wisconsin, the former coach there, said, hey, look, sorry, but it's not going to happen here. It's too much of a nightmare for us. We've already got so many things in place. We can't just change. I mean, if they want to do this right, then give us more scholarships, but that's not going to happen. So it is what it is, but going to be interesting. The Board of Governors tomorrow will vote on that eligibility rule. It seems that it is going to pass. But regardless of that, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about the NFL and a bubble-like environment in the playoffs. Is that possible? We'll get your take on that, Coach. And the defensive end for Florida, Zachary Carter, has made his decision on whether he will play or opt out. And we'll talk about Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, his brand-new team here in Dallas. looking ready to take that division, but he's got a quarterback situation, or does he? We'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly! Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
There's only one natural ingredient that could instantly shift your mood, help you focus, lower stress, and boost your self-confidence. It's available everywhere, works immediately, is affordable, and can change the quality of your life forever. It's called playing music.
Side effects include restless split syndrome, spontaneous undulation, and can be highly contagious. If a smile doesn't last for more than 4 hours, consult your nearest music store.
Just play. Your prescription to a better life. Brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Hey, what's up? Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, we're into August, that first time that we start to feel the flow for football season.
Foosball.
Like getting ready to run out of the tunnel to a song like Enter Sandman. Might be a little different this year. Probably no smoke, social distance away from the people, as you might get cheered on by virtual fans.
You can do it!
But overall, we're excited, and we'll keep you posted with the latest updates from high school, college, and the NFL. Join myself, Chad Brillante, and JP right here on the Sports Drive, 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola.
Hey, this is Jay Williams. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Appreciate you guys tuning in here. Going to jump back into it. Coach, look, the NFL's considering, this is just considering right now for people. This is nothing set in stone. Possibilities for a postseason bubble that would further protect players, coaches, and staff members from the coronavirus in the most important games of the season. Now, this is obviously a playoff situation. Think about that. Now, some of these teams have obviously said that they're not going to have fans this year. Some have said we may have a few. Look, New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton kind of broached the idea during a recent competition committee meeting, and the league said no commitments obviously have been made, but they're working on it. They said legally they're not sure if they can do it. But, look, Vincent, of course, has come out and said, look, we didn't use the term bubble. He said, but secure environment to make sure there's no risk from the outside as teams start making that playoff drive. We did tell Coach Payton that it was something that both Chief Medical Officer Alan Sills and the teams would explore, and these are the things that we have to be flexible on. Bubbles, obviously, Coach, when you talk about this, they'd isolate the players. They'd have them probably in one or two at different places here, playing their playoff games. This is interesting because, Coach, you've played and you've coached in the NFL. You have some of the most perspective on this, more than the majority of people out there, obviously. So when you look at this from a playoff perspective, a lot of people are saying, well, what about the home field advantage? Well, the home field advantage, yes, because you're playing in your home stadium, but will you have fans? I don't know how much that would change. Coach, when you look at this idea of a secure environment for postseason, do you think that could work? Is that feasible when it comes to playoff because you're narrowing the teams down a little bit? But still, that's a lot of people and that's a lot of moving parts here. Do you think it's possible?
Well, I think at this point, it's exactly what they said is something to take a look at. No decisions should be made. You don't know what the virus will be doing by then. They have a vaccine. There may be a totally different outlook on this whole pandemic situation by then. So let's take a look at it. It's got some merit in that should it be still rampant at the time, and it would improve the odds of having all the right people there to play by basically quarantining and using some dome stadiums in different places, in different sites to play the games. I could see, I could see where it could be used, but I don't think it should go any further than that right now. Just making sure plans are in place in the event that it becomes a preferred way to go in the playoffs. But other than that, let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's not pull a Big Ten here and jump the gun when we still have plenty of time. And I think that's obviously we know the NFL. Look, if anybody has not jumped the gun, the NFL from this entire time has been like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And everybody's been like, how dare you? And then be like, yeah, okay, you done talking? Yeah, this is what we're going to do. We've got plans for this. We've got plans for that. And I think you're right. Look, this is go ahead and get it set up in case you got to use it. And obviously that's probably what they're going to do here. And if you need to implement it, implement it. But we'll see because that is a long time. I mean, that is months and months and months away. And we obviously know this can change day by day. So interesting to see what's going to happen there. But nonetheless, the NFL is looking into a possible secure environment or bubble situation for the postseason. Florida Gator fans. By the way, Coach, I'm wearing my Florida Gator shirt that I just got yesterday. So there you go. I'm a Gator now, obviously. My Oregon Ducks are not playing. So, it's look, I think the blue and orange looks good. Outside of me, I don't look good, but hey, the shirt looks good. With that being said, defensive end Zachary Carter has been one of those guys for the Florida Gators that look, he's a great defensive end, by the way. Fantastic. They need him this year. Todd Grantham in that defense to kind of revamp and come back at him again. Zachary Carter's been one of those guys that hasn't been sure, but he's also been vocal about it and kind of letting people know. And there's a difference than what we're seeing from some of their other players where they're just kind of tweeting back and forth and sending some cryptic messages and nobody knows what's going on. Zachary Carter's is completely COVID-related because, look, he lost a close longtime friend of their family to COVID-19. His father battled the coronavirus in the hospital for a while. So, if anybody understands COVID-19 and the seriousness, Zachary Carter is. And you understand that. For people that's gone through it, it hits home a little bit differently. And so he revealed, of course, came out, and people were wondering is he's going to play. And he said he wanted to make his decision sooner rather than later because he didn't want to hold his team up in limbo. And you know what? That's awesome. That's the way it should be. And he said, looking forward to balling out in honor of all COVID-19 fighters and victims out there. Go Gators. There you go. That's what he let people know. And he's playing in honor of all the people that are fighting COVID-19, from obviously first responders to healthcare workers and all the victims, people that have gotten it and people that have suffered from it. He wants to go out there and play. And he understands the dangers. He's like I said, he's seen it firsthand. But he wants to go out there and play, and it's important to him. And Coach Dan Mullen obviously supports him. Coach Dan Mullen, by the way, support any guy, whatever he wants to do, but loves the way Zachary Carter went about it, kind of letting them know, talking to him, not keeping things to himself and being very vocal about it. And, Coach, I think, look, whether you play or you don't play, it's completely up to these guys, obviously. That's way obvious. But I think it's awesome that Zachary Carter, look, this guy has gone through this. He's had family members go through this. And I thought his statement, look, looking forward to balling out in honor of all COVID-19 fighters and victims. Go Gators. I thought that was an awesome statement, but I think it was awesome the way he took it because he said, look, I'm going to take some time, talk it over with my family, talk it over with myself, and want to get all the facts before I make my decision. But he wants to do it quickly because he did not want to keep his guys in limbo. I thought, look, that's textbook. That's as good as you can do when you're coming in and making a decision.
Yeah, and it's a big plus for Florida too. He will make a difference, so that's a major move. And he obviously has closer contact to his family with this virus. But it also, you look at the bottom line, JP, he's probably safer. He's a good example who would be safer in the athletic environment than he would be at home. So there you go. Well, I'm glad he's made that decision. I think it's a good decision, and I think it's good for him and the university.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. And look, you're outside. When you talk about safety, it's hard to negate the fact of, it's not safer being there in their own little bubble. It's a lot safer than being out. And that's one thing, he's talking about his family. His family agreed that it is safer for him to be there. And they want him to move on. They don't want him to be held up by them. They know the opportunity that he has. This is a guy that has the potential to go to the NFL, by the way. And so, you talk about futures like that. So I just thought it was great overall. Regardless of whatever these guys want to do, I think being open to your coaching staff, you don't have to be open to us as fans, obviously, but being open to your coaching staff and letting them know what's going on is key. And that's not the case for all these players. But it is what it is. I think that's a part of maturing and growing up. Regardless, Coach, speaking of, hey, how about this team, the Cowboys? Well, they obviously quite the situation now with Dak Prescott. He signed his franchise tag for 1 year. It seems that maybe his only year. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's a big year for Dallas overall. They had a great offseason, adding guys like CeeDee Lamb. You still got the great offensive line, good running back. Receiving core got even better, signing Amari Cooper to that $100 million deal. They shored him up for 5 years. This team offensively is loaded. Now, defensively, look, losing Gerald McCoy is going to hurt, but you just signed Everson Griffin. Thank goodness, by the way. What a perfect timing. I mean, you hate it for a guy like McCoy, but hey, at least you got Griffin back there to help you with that. But with this coach, Andy Dalton, that's kind of the signing that we both talked about it. We think it was the biggest signing they made, period. But when you look at this, Andy Dalton coming in here, obviously he has 9 seasons as a starter with Cincinnati, brings a lot of that veteran presence that they need in that quarterback room, by the way. And for Dak Prescott, look, he's been doing it for a little while, but you still need a veteran. Andy Dalton has been through a lot. Andy Dalton has brought a team to the playoffs that, wasn't very good, a very average team that he brought them there. Now, he doesn't have a playoff win, but still been through a lot, been through the grind of losing seasons, grind of coaching changes, all kinds of things going on right now. And look, Andy Dalton also understands his role. He said, I'm going to be ready to go in case something happens. I'm not going to be caught with my pants down in this. It's going to be different for me, not being a starter, but I know what I've signed up for. I know the position I'm in. That's not going to change anything about preparation. Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy obviously loves Andy Dalton and the way he's been playing lately. He said, look, Dak is our starter, and Andy is a great resource and asset to not only the football team, but to Dak Prescott. Andy's played a lot of snaps in this league. You can see the level of preparation, the organization of what he has collected over the years. It's very impressive. He asked all the right questions, different questions. So Andy has not only made our quarterback room better, he is definitely going to be ready to go if needed. And he also went on to talk about the fact that he's teaching Dak Prescott things. He's teaching him learning coverages. There are certain things that, he's still learning, obviously, as he's still a fairly young quarterback in the league. But things that Andy Dalton, basically, what Mike McCarthy has said is Andy Dalton, any knowledge he has poured it out to that quarterback room, and he's poured it out to that team. And, Coach, first off, we obviously talked about this. I think the team is good enough no matter who the quarterback is to go out there and win. But I think this is exactly what you talk about with being a great teammate on and off the field. You're talking about getting the respect of those guys. And regardless of what happens, whether it's Andy Dalton or it's Dak Prescott, Coach, I think if Andy Dalton's in there, this team has the potential to go to the playoffs. I don't think they skip a beat. And look, according to what's been going on in their practices, Andy Dalton has been throw for throw with Dak Prescott, and they've been eerily similar, where people even kind of scratch their head and go, this guy's pretty good. And so I don't know if that will change anything, obviously, with what Jerry Jones and them will do long term. But it just shows you right there that this is a perfect situation for Dallas, and it seems to be a pretty good situation for Andy Dalton as well.
Well, we said before, it's a great pickup. Dalton was a great pickup for Dallas. And here's the bottom line. He's going to be an outstanding mentor to Prescott, no doubt about it. He'll help him tremendously. But if they don't get off to a good start, and if things aren't going well, I've said before, and I'll say it again, it would not shock me if Andy Dalton becomes the quarterback at some point in the season, especially later on in the season, if they're just not clicking. And the other unfortunate situation is you get a quarterback hurt. You have to have somebody like him to step in and give you a chance to win and get into the playoffs. So it's a big deal for Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely a big deal. I think this is – look, I've said before, I think the Eagles now we'll see with that wide receiver. If they can stay healthy, I think the Eagles will win that division. It'll be close. But Dallas is a team that obviously could make the playoffs as well as one of those wild cards. But look, this is a team in Dallas that has improved tremendously when you talk about offensively. And I just think the defense is going to be the question mark. That's where I give Philadelphia the edge, because I know how that defense, how physical they are, how well they're coached and everything. So we'll see. But look, for Dallas, you're right. Look, you said from the beginning when they signed Andy Dalton that was the dagger right there, that was a genius signing on their part. And a lot of people were like, that's so disrespectful to Dak Prescott. Well, you could say what you want to. That's fine. But we don't have a problem when another team adds depth as well. So we all know why that they said that, but it is what it is. And I think personally, Coach, this is probably Dak Prescott's last year. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but hearing what I'm hearing right now from how impressed they are with Andy Dalton, I know they're just now getting started, but that's kind of what we thought. And it's nothing against Dak Prescott, but remember, he's 6-17 against playoff teams in the regular season, and he doesn't have that playoff win. When you look at it, he's 25 touchdowns, 25 interceptions against those teams with basically winning records. It's just not a good look when you're going to give a guy the most money in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. Sorry. But with that being said, we got to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about what Urban Meyer said about the SEC and his prediction for these teams playing nothing but a conference schedule. And SEC coaches talk about other SEC coaches anonymously, but still, it's always fun to look at it. And Alabama football. We'll talk about some Crimson Tide updates here on camp. And how's it going with Mac Jones and Bryce Young? Who will be the starter? Well, it may not surprise you very much. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
There's only one natural ingredient that could instantly shift your mood, help you focus, lower stress, and boost your self-confidence. It's available everywhere, works immediately, is affordable, and can change the quality of your life forever. It's called playing music.
Side effects include restless lit syndrome, spontaneous undulation, and can be highly contagious. If a smile doesn't last for more than 4 hours, consult your nearest music store.
Just play. Your prescription to a better life. Brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Ferocious flavor has landed at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's bold, it's different, it's refreshing, it's dragon fruit. We're using real dragon fruit to blend up our fearsomely flavorful new dragon fruit smoothie. Try one today, paired with a fan favorite Super Green Caesar chicken wrap or a Chipotle Chicken Club flatbread for a powerfully tasty combo. Slay your cravings at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat better, feel better.
This Thursday at 5:30, tune into the Sports Drive with me, Chad Brilliante, when we tee it up with PGA and head pro at Osceola Golf Course, Adrian Stills, for his inside scoop on local golf events and some entertaining stories around the links. Adrian has represented Pensacola at the highest levels of the PGA Tour and is proud to call Pensacola his home. And now he's giving you the inside scoop. Thursday at 5:30, right here on the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hi, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Appreciate you guys tuning into the show with us. Going to continue on, obviously, talking some college football. Now, when we talk about college football, a guy that, got out of the coaching ranks. He knows how it is in the SEC. And I thought, by the way, Coach, it was hilarious what he had mentioned in his statement here, as he had talked about Urban Meyer, by the way. You know, remember him in Florida, remember him in Ohio State. A lot of controversy, depending on how you want to look at him. But, a good coach. But, regardless of the controversy, a good college football analyst. I think he's done a great job with that. Brings some interesting insight there with Fox. But with that being said, came in to say, look, I understand how tough it is to play in the SEC. He said, by far, it is the toughest conference top to bottom to coach or play in. And I thought that was interesting because, of course, everybody always talks about the SEC. Yeah, they think they're the best. Well, Urban Meyer, one of the better coaches here, obviously, in history, just admitted that it is the toughest one to coach top to bottom. He said there's not one team that you can truly just roll up and say, we're better than you and we're going to beat you. You better beat them on the football field, and you better come after them because any team can strike you. Now, I find that hard to believe maybe right now with an Arkansas or a Vanderbilt, but I get what he's saying because there are a lot of talented players in the SEC. But with that being said, talking about the 10-game schedule, he said this is something that they've never done, never had to experience, never done before. It's going to be a bit of a gauntlet. And he said that he does not believe anybody will go undefeated. In fact, he believes playing a 10-game SEC schedule is going to be extremely tough. And, Coach, he said he believes that each team will have multiple losses. Now, obviously, that's including teams like Alabama. That's including teams like Georgia, Florida, LSU, all these other teams. He does not believe one team will have one loss. He believes the fewest losses will be two. Coach, when you look at this, I understand what he's saying. I really do, because playing nothing but a SEC schedule is going to be tough, something they never had to do before. A lot of these teams get these cupcake games. Look, even, Alabama played Western Carolina last year. I know teams play Samford, teams play Georgia State or whatever it is. I get it. But playing nothing but conference schedule, Coach, he believes there are going to be multiple losses. Would you agree or disagree with that statement, playing an SEC schedule?
Well, he's got a good point. In that it is going to be a most difficult schedule. But I would have to say you just have to boil it down to one team right now. I think it would be, you could look at Alabama and say Bama could go through undefeated. I think it's going to be difficult for anybody else to go undefeated. Very difficult. But if I had to evaluate what he said, he's probably got a good point. I don't see every team having two losses now. I don't see that, but I see the only team that I would say is that's going to go through unscathed is going to be Alabama. But everybody else should have a loss, and maybe a number of teams will have two losses.
Yeah, that's I would agree with that. I think if there's one team that can do it, especially when you look at the schedule, I think Alabama could. I could see Alabama getting one loss, obviously. We all know, look, playing in this year is going to be different than any other. Let's just call it what it is. We're assuming, obviously, once they get on the football field, things will kind of normalize a little bit, but these guys are going through things differently than they normally. They're not living their same normal life with this, by the way, but still, when you look at a team like Alabama, that's a team you believe that you've seen going 9-1 or 10-0, and you wouldn't be surprised. If I told you they lost 2 games, you may not be as surprised, but there'll still be a little bit there. This is interesting. I agree with you, though. I think that's the one team you look at. For Urban Meyer, look, like you said, he knows, he understands, and I get what he's saying, but this is an Alabama team that is extremely talented coming back. And I know there's a lot of people that are not Alabama fans. I am not an Alabama fan as well, so when I say this, I'm saying this just out of pure what I believe, looking into it, hearing things about fall camp and hearing things that are going on within that organization every day, as that's part of my job is to read about all these teams. But this is a very talented team coming back. The secondary is skeptical a little bit, but with that front seven, they're going to be really good. And obviously offensively, when you've got guys out there – just to give you an idea, Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle are going to most likely, outside of something crazy, go in the first round. You've got Alex Leatherwood on that offensive line. Booker T. Washington right here in our very own backyard zone. He is going to be a first-round pick, by the way. He came back. All these guys decided to come back. Najee Harris. You've got Miller Forrestall coming back at the tight end position. These guys are loaded offensively. When you look at the defensive side, Dylan Moses, Christian Harris, you've got a lot of these other guys coming back. Look, this is a guy like LeBron Ray. You got Patrick Surtain in that secondary who will kind of lead that secondary, but this is a really good football team. Now, obviously, playing an SEC schedule only is different, but I think if anybody can do it, obviously, Coach, we talked about it. I agree with you. Alabama could. And with that being said, Coach, Alabama, we just want to stay on them for a minute because the news I'm getting in the football, what's going on with camp right now, they're finally having padded practices. Things are going on. We're moving forward, like I said, to some football. Mac Jones and Bryce Young have been the question marks. What's going to happen at that quarterback position? What about the 5-star Bryce Young? Look, some people, it seems it's funny because it seems almost like a split sometimes when you talk to folks. Some people are high on Bryce Young, the 5-star out of Mater D right there. Fantastic quarterback. I'm not going to take anything away from him. We know how Saban feels about playing freshmen. He doesn't necessarily do it unless he absolutely has to. But, hey, Bryce Young's a very talented kid. Mac Jones is a guy that I don't think gets enough respect, Coach. And the reason I say that is obviously if he would not, and I know this is easy to say, if he would not have thrown those 2 pick sixes in that Auburn game, they win that football game. But regardless, if he didn't throw those 2 pick sixes, we're looking at him as, look, even if he just throws those 2 interceptions and they're not a pick six, we're talking about Mac Jones as, wow, this kid is unbelievable. And we should be doing that, by the way, because he is very talented. Coach, what I'm reading into here, everything that I've read so far has said, look, Bryce Young, it's a great situation that they have at Alabama, but Bryce Young is awaiting his turn. It's Mac Jones' team right now. It's Mac Jones' job to lose, and Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide this year. Coach, I know you're pretty high on Mac Jones as well as I am. Any surprise to hear that Mac Jones is just leading the charge right now?
Oh, Lord, no. I think that's very obvious that he should be the quarterback, and he's a very good quarterback. Listen, this is not a settling for anything. They've got an outstanding quarterback situation. Now, how they use Bryce Young, I'm sure they'll use him some, maybe in some option-type situations, goal line or short yardage, possibly inside the 20 on occasion. But that's just something that Saban has done continually over the years. He'll give him some playing time. But they have a good quarterback in Bryce Jones. Jones. And I think Alabama is set. They're set to go quarterback position for quite a while.
Yeah, I agree. And, Coach, I do want to ask you because you played and you coached in the NFL. You understand what it takes when you're looking for guys to play at that next level. When you look at Mac Jones, I know we got a small sample size last year, but from what you've seen, does he look like the making or the potential of I hate to use that potential word, but the possibility of a NFL-style quarterback? Is this a guy that we could see going on and playing in the NFL someday?
Yeah, he's got the possibility of doing that. Let me tell you, he's got a good arm. I think he's got an extremely good arm. He's got a good quick release, gets the ball up high. His footwork seems to be outstanding. He can do a good job on the play action passes. Seems to be able to read defense as well. I'm sure he does well with their check system. So, some things I can't answer because I haven't seen them all that much and not up close. But for the most part, I like what I see. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be a number one draft choice. But could he play in the National Football League? To answer your question, I would have to say at this point, yes, he could play. And he's maybe exactly what Alabama needs right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. He's been in that organization for a while. Remember, this is a 3-star kid out of the Bowles School right there in Jacksonville. They have had some pretty good football players come out of there. He's a junior, so he's still got another couple years if he wants to keep on playing. But I love Mac Jones. I do. I think it's he is a guy that, once again, doesn't get the respect he deserves. But one day, that's it. You play quarterback at Alabama. I will say this, though. Greg McElroy went to the NFL, even though he didn't stay long. When you compare it, I was curious because I've heard that question asked, can you see Mac Jones going on to the NFL? And a lot of people are like, I don't know. And I get it's a small sample size, but when you look at the film, and I go by, just the intangibles, looking at how they throw the football, the release, things like just general things that I can look at on film. He looks a lot better. I mean, this is a kid that I think will, now that he is the guy, that changes everything on this. And I think he's going to do very well this year. And look, him and Kyle Trask, I think, are going to take that SEC by storm when it comes to quarterbacks. No offense to Jamie Newman, but Jamie Newman, I want you to prove it out there. I want to see it first. So I know everybody's hyped on him, and they've already sold him to be the potential for a Heisman there outside of Trevor Lawrence, but I'm not going to buy it yet. So we'll see it. But look, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some dark horse teams in the NFL to possibly make the playoffs. Well, a couple of them may not surprise you, and we'll talk about SEC coaches talking about other SEC coaches in their organizations. It's always fun to hear behind the scenes when they're talking anonymously. Always fun to talk about that, especially in the SEC. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
This is Northwest Florida's all sports, all the time station. From Destin to New Orleans, sports fans come here for ESPN and local sports talk. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Final segment here of the show. Do want to get some breaking news. Obviously, Coach, this just happened here. Just got the alert that obviously Samford They postponed their football season, so that was FSU's non-conference opponent. FSU just added for October 3rd, it seems, Jacksonville State will be their one non-conference opponent they have. So Jacksonville State is not, obviously, if you don't know, not in Florida. It's in Alabama. But anyway, regardless, they added Jacksonville State to finish up their schedule. So that was just reported to me. So there you go. That finishes out their non-conference and their complete schedule. The October 3rd, Jacksonville State, they'll have them at home, obviously. So good news. There you go. Moving forward, obviously, Sanford canceled, I believe it was last week. So good move for Coach Norvell and squad. Maybe not a team that'll wow you, but hey, they had to fill a slot and get a game there, so they did. Coach, I want to talk about the NFL. We've been talking a lot of college stuff, obviously, with what's going on. Rightfully so. We get it. But in the NFL, there's a lot that is going on here. This is going to be an interesting year, not just because of COVID-19, but because of all the moves that have been made. And one of those moves is the Indianapolis Colts. When we talk about the Colts, this is a team that's very intriguing, and I hate to say that being a Titans fan. You know how I feel, Coach. But I have to, look, I call it the way I see it. I'm not blind to what's going on around me. But for the Colts, I think they did a fantastic job in the draft, by the way, getting a guy like Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC, the big receiver there to help T.Y. Hilton out. They're getting Paris Campbell back now. He's healthy, and this kid is as fast as Tyreek Hill. I mean, this guy runs like a 4.2, 4.3. I mean, he is lightning quick. Then you look at a guy running back. We both love this pick, Coach Jonathan Taylor at the running back position, which, by the way, people are unbelievably impressed with him in camp right now. And even though Marlon Mack is named the starter, they don't know how long that'll last. But regardless, it gives you a great situation if you're there for Frank Reich and the Colts. I know Frank Reich is a tremendous friend of yours, Coach. We looked at him, and they drafted, Jacob Eason. He's going to be like a third-string quarterback to him right now. But the big quarterback they picked up was Phillip Rivers. And when we looked at that, we were like, that's pretty solid. This is a team which, by the way, people that said Phillip Rivers can't play, interesting situation in San Diego. Oh, I'm sorry, L.A. My apologies on that. But when you look at Phillip Rivers, Coach, I think this is a similar situation to he's back with a lot of his old coaching staff, that he had a lot of success with, by the way. This is a guy, much like Tom Brady, that now has some more weapons around him. This is a complete team. He's got the best offensive line. I'll say it. I don't have any problem saying it. The best offensive line in the NFL. These guys, boy, they are road graders in front of them. They are so good. You look at even a guy like Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback for him last year, did a serviceable job, but he's just not the guy that's going to lead this team to the promised land. And when you look at Phillip Rivers, he's got a few years left, obviously, but I think this is a guy that brings that veteran leadership. He can still play. I think he's going to play very well. Not to mention that, don't forget, they got Jack Doyle at the tight end position. These guys are good on defense. This is a good young defense that is doesn't get a lot of credit, but I think they will this year. And the offense, Coach, I think now T.Y. Hilton has help. Now, like I said, you got Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell. These guys are locked and ready to go. Would you consider the Colts a dark horse team, Coach, or do you believe that they're probably the favorites in that division right now?
I've been saying ever since the draft and the off season, the Colts are going to be tough to beat, and they could certainly be there. Don't forget their offensive line may be the best offensive line in all of football too. So you put all that together, and Rivers is going to do some of the things to help that defense as well, just like Brady will be doing with the Tampa defense. So you put it all together, and yeah, the Colts look pretty strong to me, and they've got the continuity with their coaching staff, and they're a good football team.
Yeah, Coach, it's like I said, I hate to say it, but this is going to be interesting. And look, people are like, well, what about Houston? I think Houston, we'll see. They some of their offseason moves make you scratch their head, but look, Bill O'Brien said, just give me a chance, give me a couple years. I don't know how that's going to work, but hey, it is what it is. Coach, one more team I want to get to here, it's the Steelers. Now, we know that division is loaded. That division with the Browns and obviously the Ravens and those guys, that division is really good. We know that. Ben Roethlisberger is seeming that he's healthy. Look, watching some film the other day, yesterday actually, I was watching him some film throwing the football. He looks good, I know, but here's the problem: is him staying healthy because he's a guy that takes a lot of hits. He's not as mobile obviously as he used to be, but he's just a big-bodied guy. He just takes abuse, and he's been able to take abuse and still get the football out. Now obviously he's getting older. He's coming back, and he says he's as fresh as he's ever been. Sure. I mean, that's what you're supposed to say, I guess. But when you look at the Steelers, Coach, we know that the defense is good. Guys like T.J. Watt, Stephon Tuitt, Devin Bush, those guys they're really good. They played fantastic last year. They just could not get any help out of their offense. When you have guys like Mason Rudolph and, look, Duck Hodges, it was ugly to say the very least. But when you look at this team, Coach, look, James Washington's back. They drafted Chase Claypool, which I think will help them tremendously. Juju Smith-Schuster's back. This is a good team. James Conner there, Derek Watt. Look, we know the offensive line is good enough. Coach, when you look at the Steelers, do you think that they are going to be able to get through that division and make the playoffs this year?
Well, it's going to be a tough division, but I think you're right. You're certainly right as far as them being a good football team. And they're going to be playing with some momentum now, too, especially based on how they did last year without a quarterback. I give them a lot of credit. I think their defense, and I really think their defense is about as good a defense. I don't know anybody that's got much better. There's some teams that may have a little better defense, but not too much better. They play as well defensively as anybody. That's gonna win a lot of ball games.
Yeah, and with that being said, Coach, just real quick, obviously, with the Cleveland Browns here, that's the team that everybody's like, well, why aren't people hyping on the Cleveland Browns? And, look, we've done that before. When you look at the Browns and the moves, they made a ton of moves this offseason, and hats off to them. Do you believe – I won't ask you about the entire Browns team. Do you believe that Baker Mayfield will be able to take that next step? Because I think it's important that people understand he has went through pretty much every single year a coaching change and an offensive scheme change since he's been there. Do you think he's going to be able to take that next step this year?
Well, whatever the next step is, we're not really sure. I think he's going to have a pretty good year. I really do. They've got a lot of talent on that football team, an awful lot. He seems to be much more focused this year, not having a commercial on every 5 minutes. And I like Cleveland's accumulation of talent and the depth that they now have. That's going to be very important. But you got another coaching change, which is it's going to be tough to make all those changes.
Yeah.
And then they're in a tough division, so that's going to be tough. But they've got a good football team, a lot of good players up there.
Yeah, I like Baker Mayfield a lot. I like the fact that he's kind of humbled himself a little bit. We'll see if it actually happens during the season. But you're right. It is pleasant just for my own sake of not seeing him on all these commercials anyway. But regardless, look, that's a tough division for the Steelers, Browns, whoever you want to root for there. Good luck. That's going to be quite the season this year. But hey, look, Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go as usual. We didn't get to everything we wanted to, but you know what? We'll do it again on Friday, Coach.
You bet. We'll look forward to it, JP.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate it, and appreciate our listeners out there. And like I said, look, we'll update you as we go along in this carousel that we're calling football season right now. But the positive sign is we are planning on playing footballs. That's awesome. But we'll be back same time tomorrow talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
Speaker presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Reach us at 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Listen, on First Take a while back already, who's the dark horse for you? I said the Mavs. Even before the season started, they were my dark horse pick. I had 2 picks, right? Because you're asked to make these kind of picks if you work in sports media, basically. And one is, who do you think is going to win the whole thing? Kawhi. Had Kawhi stayed in Toronto, I'd have picked Toronto. They were a fully formed unit and only going to get better. And with KD's exodus, his departure from Golden State, it looked to me like Toronto was going to repeat if he stayed. And if he went to the Clippers, a 48 team without Kawhi or Paul George, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari, they plucked those 2 guys off that team and they dropped in their place 2 better players, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I thought they were going to win the whole thing. So that was my pick. But my sleeper pick was the Mavs, because everyone knows Doncic's really good, although I don't think you could see an MVP caliber season coming in his second year at 21 years old. He's remarkable. But Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis, this dude is 7 foot. I know people say 7'2". He whatever he really is, he's an NBA 7'3". In other words, if someone else is 7 feet by NBA standards, he's 7'3", not 7'2", 7'3". and he can bomb from the outside. He can defend in the paint.